Hello everybody, am I clearly visible and audible? How to start all the classes. Now am I audible? Everybody please confirm in the chat box. Am I audible now? Am I audible? My voice, am I audible? Yes, my voice is clear now. All right. You are saying yes, some of you are saying one answer. My voice is cracking. Is it still cracking or is it better? Dreamlander says barely audible. But I think I sound better now, do I? Okay. All right, all right. Let us start with the session. Yes, yes, it's better. All right, all right. Let us come to the session quickly now. We have wasted a lot of time already. Okay, today we are studying tone of the author. Fine. Okay, perfect, perfect. Today we are studying tone of the author. Now, bache, we'll stop chatting for a while and we'll focus on the board. All right. So, all eyes on the board. Stop chatting for a while. 5 minutes. Listen to me, and then we'll start with our conversations again. All right. See, bache, tone of author is nothing but the style or the attitude of the author. Now, attitude with respect to what? I don't know the author personally. How do I know what his style is or what his attitude towards the particular topic is? Right? How do I know? I know by looking at his writing. All right? Tone is nothing but the style, the emotion, or the feeling with which you are speaking or writing. All right? Now, whenever I'm speaking with you, how will you determine my tone? You would look at my voice modulation. You would look at my facial features, whether ma'am is angry, she's aggressive, right? She's sad. You would determine that by looking at my facial expression. Now, when you're reading a piece of writing, you do not know the facial expression of the author, right? Because he's not writing sitting in front of you. Then how do you understand the tone? But see, we do that by looking at the linguistic expression. Okay, we look at the linguistic expressions, right? Just like when we're talking in person, we usually go by the facial expression of the person. When we are reading a passage, however, we go by the linguistic expressions. Now, what do I mean by linguistic expressions? What modifiers is my author using whenever he is writing the passage? What kind of modifiers is he using? Now, what are modifiers? Tell me in the chat box very quickly. What are modifiers? Yes, people, tell me, what do you understand by the word modifier? Okay, modifiers are nothing but words or phrases that modify the subject. It can modify a verb, it can modify the pronoun, noun, whatever word that modifies the meaning, right? For example, your adjectives, your adverbs, right, people? You closely look at what kind of adjectives the author is using and what kind of adverb they are using. Okay, taking these cues, you understand the tone of the author, right? Yes, bache? Short session or long? We'll keep it 1 hour or so. Okay, we'll keep it short, not a very long session. We'll just understand the tone and we'll practice some questions. Okay, right? Yes, people, have we understood till here? All right. Very good, very good. Those words that modify the meaning, those are modifiers, right? So what kind of modifiers is the author using? That will give you a good hint as to what the tone of the author is. Okay, okay, perfect, perfect. Any adjective, any adverb the author uses that reveals how they are feeling. I'll give you an example. Okay, so I'll say, I give you two sentences. One, I say, the Prime Minister of India has very graciously announced the Ladli Behan Yojana for women entrepreneurs. I speak the same sentence. This time I say, the Prime Minister of India, acting like a spendthrift, has announced the Ladli Behan Yojana. Right? Tell me, what is the difference between these two sentences? One, I say he has graciously. The other sentence, I say he's being a spendthrift. He's spending too much on these useless, let's say, provisions. What is the difference? Can you tell me what is my tone in the first sentence and what is the tone in the second sentence? Yes, you can understand it. You can identify just by looking at the modifiers that I use. For example, when I use word like gracious, my tone is positive. It is celebratory. Right? But yes, very good. Yes, Utsav, very good. Very good. One is optimistic, the other one is critical. Very good. Perfect. Perfect. Also, your modifiers, definitely, they tell you, they give you a hint as to what. Very good, laudatory. Very good. Ashwin. Ashwin. Very good. Very good, Ashwin. Okay. Now, yes. Now, once we've understood the meaning and the way in which we identify the tone, no, bache, the first one is not rational. No, 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 no. I'm saying he's being gracious. How is it rational? Of course, I'm lauding him, right? I'm saying it on a positive note. It's celebratory, it's laudatory. It's not rational. Okay, I'm not giving reason as to why he's gracious to do that. Okay, Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now let us understand how to identify the tone. Okay, now stop chatting for a while and just look at the board what we are learning. Okay, first of all you check for any emotional cues, है ना, जैसे words like gracious or spendthrift, miser, whatever. These words gives you a hint as to what the author is feeling, right? Any word that is showing approval, disapproval, excitement, sorrow, doubt, or criticism, look for those words. After that, what's the intensity? Sometimes what happens is, bache, two tones are very similar. The only difference is in the intensity. For example, if I say cautionary or alarmist, what is the difference? Both are negative, both are warning you. But cautionary has a reasonable doubt. Alarmist is just fear mongering. He's too heavy on the fear, right? That is the difference between cautionary and alarming, right? So once you have understood the emotional cues, once you have gotten the feeling, after that you watch for the intensity. What is the intensity? Very good. Yes, yes, yes. After that, identify the pattern. Now, after these two things, now, which is sometimes your author or your examiner is very smart. What they do is they use positive modifiers. The intensity is balanced. But what they're doing under the pretext is they are actually maybe explaining why something is wrong. So, under the pretext of being positive, cheerful, they're actually being pessimistic and critical. So understanding the modifiers, understanding the emotional cues is fine, but you should also look at the pattern. What is the pattern that the author is following? Is he genuinely meaning those words, or is he just being satirical? Is he being sarcastic? Right? So that is also something you need to keep in mind. Then comes very close options. As I said, words like cautionary or alarmist, these are very close options. How do I pick from that? You look for the intensity. है ना? CLAT will often give you some uh, confusing options like that. So the step should be first understand the degree, the intensity, and then of course the direction, whether the direction is positive, negative, or neutral. You combine these two things, है ना? Direction plus degree, and then you will get your tone accurately. All right, this is precisely how we mark the tone questions correct. Now, understanding the tone is very important from two aspects. One is, of course, a direct question can occur. The examiner will ask you which of the following is the tone of my author. However, there is another use of understanding the tone when you do questions like strengthening, weakening, inference, assumption, main idea. Here you can eliminate some options that are maybe factually correct, but they do not match the tone of your author. So an accurate, precise, correct answer should always match the tone of your author, right? So while understanding the tones, we are doing two things. One, of course, direct question. And second, we are understanding how we eliminate two close option choices, right? All right. Now, how exactly do we approach tone questions? How do we do that? See, we have broadly categorized all the tones into three categories: positive, negative, and neutral. Now, your homework for today, those of you who are serious aspirants, your homework for today is that you will understand this list from here and you will add 5 synonyms and 5 antonyms. Okay? We'll add 5 synonyms and 5 antonyms to this list. For example, constructive, add 5 synonyms, 5 antonyms. Okay? You will extend this list at home. Perfect. Now, of course, these are very common ones. I'm sure you all know this. Constructive is when you are pointing out the flaws, but then you are giving a feedback which is constructive. You have a hope that things can be improved, right? That is your constructive tone. You're pointing out the tone, but the overall, let's say, style is optimistic. It is positive. Then comes sanguine. Sanguine is when you're calmly hopeful even in distressful situation, right? that is sanguine, right? You are hopeful that things will work out, है ना? Even in adverse situations. Then comes laudatory. One of you even mentioned it when I gave you the PMOD example. Laudatory is when you're explicitly praising something, है ना? When you are approving that yes, what they're doing is absolutely fantabulous, right? That is a laudatory tone. You are literally lauding them, not physically, but by your writing. Then comes affirmative. Affirmatives, you're affirming their stance that what they did is correct. After that comes celebratory. Now, a minor, teeny tiny difference between celebratory and lauding is celebratory is, of course, it can be used for people, but generally it is used for events or any, let's say, function or any event that is happening. Okay, perfect, perfect. Then optimistic is when you're hopeful that things will get better. Okay, optimistic when you're uh, speaking of things, positive or negative, from a positive perspective, from a hopeful perspective. That is optimistic. All right, all right. Now there are some quick tips which are constructive and supportive. Although they appear very similar, there is a very small hair-like difference between the two. That constructive is usually rational. It is rational. You're saying, okay, so and so things are bad, but then it can be improved by so and so measures taken in place. Supportive is when you're saying, okay, these things are bad, but I still extend my support. So supportive is more of emotional. Constructive is rather rational and logical. Okay, that is the minute difference between these two. Constructive is rational, it is logical. Supportive is rather emotional. Okay, now sanguine versus optimistic. See, optimistic, of course, as we say, it's little milder, it is softer. Sanguine is when you're saying even if situation is bad, still I'm thinking that no, things will improve. All right, then laudatory versus celebratory. Laudatory usually praising a person, an idea, and yeah, a personality. Celebratory is praising an event, some accomplishment, right? Yes, bache. Now you can also look for tone modifiers like notably. These words are screaming, I will tell you the tone. So just catch the cues. Words like notably, commendably, rightly, meaningfully, wisely, effectively, gracefully, thoughtfully. Once you have spotted these words, one thing is for sure that the tone is positive. Now, within the positive tone, which one fits the context? That depends on the purpose and intensity. All right, are we clear till here? Yes, everybody, are we clear till here? Yes. All right. Now let us understand the negative tones. Negative tones, of course, they bring some sort of fear, criticism, anger. All right, for example, critical when you're criticizing, cynical when you're doubtful, dismissive when you're dismissing something the other person says or another personality says, or you're dismissing an argument, है ना, or a long standing view that people had in their mind, dismissive. After that, alarmist, again, when you're overemphasizing on the dangers or things that could go wrong in future, alarmist. Now, derisive is when you're mocking, ridiculing somebody. That is derisive. Okay, perfect. Now, derisive is not really, yes, you're ridiculing something, but it's not extremely sharp and bitter. Pessimistic, of course, when you're focusing too much on the negative outcomes, right? Now, critical and cynical are not really the same because critical evaluates the flaw while cynical is distrusting the intentions. Okay. Again, cynical is more of facts plus emotions, feelings. Critical is more based on facts, right? Dismissive is very common and this claim oversimplified. So dismissive is what, in dismissive they're saying that whatever is being believed, whatever the belief common people have or certain group of people or certain school of thought has, that is not correct. You know, that is not apt. Perfect. Then derisive is harsh, mocking, ridiculing, right? After that, alarmist appears when the passage exaggerates the risk. And the risk is there, but your exaggerating is too much, right? Have we understood this? Yes. Yes, people, have we understood this? All right, now let's look at some neutral tones and then we'll practice some questions. Okay? Neutral tones are, of course, analytical when you're analyzing two or more ideas, and then you're good. Objective is when you're just speaking the truth without any opinion. है ना? We say na certain papers are subjective. Subjective means different people can write different answers. Your CLAT is objective. There can be only one correct answer out of the 4 options. Similarly, objective tone is when you're writing straightforward facts and truths without adding your own opinion in there. Alright, that is an objective tone. Now, expository is when you have a tinge of revealing something. है ना? Here you are explaining a concept or a process clearly or revealing something which is maybe hidden or maybe complex or understated. Descriptive is when you're creating imagery or maybe giving very lengthy description of something. है ना? That is descriptive. Then informative is when you're giving out information. है ना? Now the difference between descriptive and informative is that of the intent. Descripting, you're describing something as plain fact. Informative is when you are doing this in an attempt to share information. Okay? Measured is when both the viewpoints are somewhat balanced. That is a measured tone. It also falls in the category of neutral tones. Okay. Now, what you see, the tones are so many, as I've said, it's largely impossible to cover them all in one lecture. Otherwise, we won't have the time to practice questions, right? So, this is lecture 1. If you want, we can also come up with lecture 2 on tones of the author. All right. Yes, everyone. Then, yes, you can read it later. This is your CLAT PYQ. We'll do it. Acha, let's try this one question. I'll get a side. I'll get a side here. Okay, dear. Let's try this question quickly and then I'll take your doubts. First, let's try this question right here. Are we done? Yes, people, are we done? It's an easy question, people. Give me the answer quickly. Some people are saying B. Why would you say B, Sneha? Why would we say B, dear? Okay, somebody says A. Okay. But if the author is criticizing but also being hopeful, it can be constructive criticism. B A explain कर दो. हाँ, I'll do that. The expository is usually neutral. Here the author is not neutral. है ना? When the tone is expository, the author is neutral. Do you think the author is neutral here? Yes. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. A lot of you have answered B for some reason. I don't understand why. I think a lot of you gave me A's also. है ना? A. Okay. Good, good. What's your name? Just an nth. Okay. Yes. Acha, theek hai. Let's look at the passage. What is the passage saying? Read it carefully. In the aftermath of the government much publicized digital transparency mission, one would imagine opinion is coming forward. Before this, fact, opinion. One would imagine a sweeping overhaul of public data system, or at the very least, loosening of bureaucratic knots that have kept critical records inaccessible for decades. So, even if I read till here, I have already understood that the tone is negative. है ना? I have understood that the tone is negative. So any positive, hopeful, I eliminate. Even if I don't read further. Till here, I have understood that the tone is negative. I read what is the most label of the portals that rarely function. Again, negative. He's saying portals are there, but they rarely function. Helplines that eternally ring busy, and grievances that appear automated without resolving heavily negative. Public promise for revolution, what they received was technocratic harsh. है ना? Largely with these words, static harsh, that is the government creating an illusion. Right? There is that, right? Government treating you. It dissolves the one with mirage shatters the moment you try to fit with a strong, bitter criticism of the government. Yes, I genuinely cannot understand people are hopeful, right? The author is being as better with it. Yes. The author is being as bitter, as straightforward, as is it better here? Is it better? Yes, is it better? Tell me. My voice better, better now. Is it better now? Better. Okay. So yeah, I don't understand people are busy because only Everybody getting inside? All okay? All okay? All right. All right. People, are we done? That was very good. Yes, A is very good. Very good. Very good, everybody. Almost, I think everybody answered it right. So try this question. Try this question. Get a side so that you can see the question. Okay, tell me the answer. I think that is sufficient. That was sufficient time. Yes. What is the answer, people? A lot of you are saying A. It's very good. Very, very good. Yes, yes, it's A for baby, right? Very good, very yes, great, great, great. So people see, once you understand the tone, once you understood the tone, I see all of you are giving the right answer. The next step is if you analyze your CLAT 2024 and 2025 paper, there have been a lot of questions on what was the primary purpose behind writing this, what was the author's intention behind writing this, you know. So whenever you have questions like purpose, intention, objective, your understanding of the tone will be very, very helpful. Those questions, right? Once you understood the tone of the author, you can very easily answer questions based on the intention or purpose, right? So let's try this question. let's try this question, everybody, very quickly. I give you 30 seconds, right? It's a short passage. So I give you 30 seconds. Read it carefully. Read it. Yes, people, are we done? Yes, tell me the answer. I think that was sufficient time for such easy peasy question. Tell me the answer, everybody. A. A. Yes, people. A for owl. Hey, what's this language? What's this script wherein owl starts with A? Okay, very good, very good. Yes, A is the correct answer. Good, good. Yes, correct. Somber means sad. So in here, the author is not being sad as to अरे क्यों ये करा दिया था तुमने excellence conclave. How sad is that? The author is not doing that. He's not lamenting or he's not expressing his sorrow. Rather, he's condescending. What is condescending? Condescending is when you're looking down upon somebody. है ना? Now, a very confusing and very similar tone is patronizing. है ना? Who will tell me what is patronizing? Tell me in the chat what is patronizing. Yes, elimination method. Very good, Pratham. Now, but see, this condescending is very similar to patronizing. Tell me in the comment what is patronizing. Do we know what is patronizing? Good, good, good. What is patronizing? I'll give you options. Okay, I'll give you options. Two options. What is patronizing? A, nationalistic, है ना? Or B, satirically criticizing or condescending. Which one is correct? A or B? What is patronizing? Is it nationalistic? Ruling? Somebody says ruling. Basically, bache, patronizing is also a tone of the author whereas he is looking down upon somebody. है ना? He is condescending them, but he is doing it in a little indirect manner. है ना? He is doing it in a little indirect manner. Somebody says A, B, we are conflicted. है ना? No, it is not nationalistic. I know patronizing sounds very similar to patriotic. Different words. Patriotic means national. Patriotic and patronizing, two different words, people. Patronizing is the tone of author where he is looking down upon somebody, है ना? He is condescending them, but here he is doing in a very sarcastic manner. For example, if somebody is very busy, है ना, and you say, don't invite him, he's such a busy bee. है ना? So what you're doing is you're patronizing them. You're calling them a busy bee, not as a compliment, but to look down upon them. Right? Yes. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Condescending is more direct. Patronizing is a little more indirect. Okay? Perfect, perfect. Okay, let's try this one. Let's try this one. I'll get a side. All right. Yes, people, mark your answers. Okay, I think that was sufficient time. Let us now understand. You know. Okay, tell me the answer. Condescending. No, silly. You said the opposite. Okay, patronizing is actually euphemistic. Condescending is usually direct and bitter. Okay, some people say it's A. People answer, stop chatting, give me the answer. What's the answer? Yes, people, what is the answer? What is the answer? Sam, looking down upon somebody is when you're insulting somebody, you know, when you're belittling somebody, right? That is looking down, condescending. People answer, I need your answer. Okay, okay. A lot of us are saying only two people have answered it. People are more focused in chatting rather than answering. Same person is giving me the answer twice, but the rest of you are busy chatting with one another. Huh? All right. Yes, it's caustic. Now there can be a confusion between A and C. That is cautiously hopeful. When we read in class, a lot of people mark this, but here you are all saying A. Good. Somebody says D. Yeah. See, as I was saying, that usually this confusion is, of course, very obvious because whenever we see a bigger word, no, this is our cognitive bias. Whenever we see a word that is complex, that is bigger, our mind thinks that, okay, this is the right answer. But this is not the case, bache. The tone is not hopeful at all. है ना? Yes, yes, yes. The author is not saying things will become better. है ना? Perfect, perfect, perfect. Let's try the next question. Yes, let's try this one. Get a side so that you can have a look at the question. Yes, people. Okay, I'm starting getting a lot of answers. Yes. Very good, very good. Yes. See, a lot of you have given some people are saying it's A, some people are saying it's B. People, all of you who are saying A, please tell me yes, 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 yes. What is reverential? But you see, whenever you do not understand the meaning of a certain word, when it's completely unfamiliar to you, what we do is we try to find out what is the closest familiar word that we know of. For example, whenever you hear someone introducing a chief guest or a judge, we say, na, he is a highly revered individual. What is the meaning of revered? Revered, reverence, reverential. Someone who is respected, है ना? Deeply respected. right? So any word that takes its roots with respect, do you think this passage fits there? Right? Do you think? Do you think? No, right? Not the correct answer, bache. Then somber and forewarning. Now, how do we know this is sad? We have in previous passages also. Good, good. In previous passages also, we left this tone. Why are we marking it here? Because here we have some emotional cues. Words like it's coming from a very personal emotional position because he had a childhood around that thing. Also they're saying that same river moves like a tired ghost. It was reduced to sluggish grey tickle that carries more plastic than memory. What do we know? That this passage, this piece of writing comes from a very personal space for the author, which is why we are saying he's sad. Okay, not he, basically the overall tone of this passage is very sad, gloomy, lamenting, right? Which is why we are marking this answer. Indifferent, no. Now optimistic but cautious, no. He's not optimistic at all about it. He at best criticizes this, you know. He's sad about it, and he's warning how this will prove to be a bad decision, right? Perfect, perfect. All right. Charlie, let's try this one. Yes, people, it's a short passage. Tell me the answer very quickly. Yes, people, tell me the answer. Okay, I'm getting lots of A's. Then okay. Somebody says B, neutral and explanatory. Okay. Somebody says B. Okay. See, bache, if you read the passage carefully, the passage is, first of all, what's the meaning of incisive? Incisive is when you're analyzing very clearly, है ना? That is incisive. ठीक है? Now, the author says artificial intelligence. Now, I will not read the whole passage because that will waste a lot of time. Rather, if my only aim is to understand the tone, I can just look for some emotional cues, what kind of language is being used, and I'll just get the main idea. है ना? Now, you see word like it proclaims. है ना? It proclaims. That means the author doesn't think it's true. है ना? That it must be transparent, yet contradiction. So from here only I can say it is negative, it is critical. So all the positive options I will eliminate. Neutral, explanatory, no, he's not neutral. Admiring, not at all. Detached and academic, if it were detached and academic, my author would never use these words like, yeah, in essence, it appears less an instrument of protection and more a gesture of administrative theater. He's ridiculing them, right, bache? So this is not academic, this is not scholarly. This is actually outraged. Now, the outrage is not coming from a position of emotion or feeling. No, it is a very critical outrage, right? So, he analyzed the whole position. The author has given you multiple dimensions, what the government is saying, what the critics are saying, what are these technology firms saying. So, different opinion have been presented and then they have been analyzed. So, this is incisive. है ना? We know that the tone is incisive because he has analyzed and very clearly evaluated every point of view, right? And then, of course, he is very critical and outraged at the step of the government. Charlie, let's try this question now. Yes, people, I'll get a side. Yes, people, very quickly. Faster, people. It's such a short passage. It shouldn't take you so much time to answer. Some people are saying A, good Sam, yes, let's press A. Pratham also says A. You're not Googling these words, na? Don't Google because Google won't be there in your actual paper. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Very good, everybody. Very good. Why? Why? Because if I look at the cues that are present, the author has first given a principle and then he is explaining or exposing the laws in the concept, right? Perfect, perfect. So this illusion, he's breaking the illusions and now he's sad about it. Yes, people, yes, yes. Perfect, perfect. We'll do a couple more questions and then we'll end the session. Since I'm getting a lot of right answers, so now I've understood that you people have understood this topic. So very quickly, we'll do a couple more questions and then we'll end the session. People, what's taking us so long? Let us answer. Your mock score is low. You want an advice. Which I would simply advise just figure out or highlight what's the weak point. है ना? Just to say that my mock score is less. What can you do? First of all, identify your weak point and weak upon that. है ना? Tell me the answer, everybody. Yes, people. Yes, yes. Oh, the answer is already written. My bad. My bad. What's the answer, everybody? A? Yes, A is the correct answer. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Acha, theek hai. Now that we have understood, we have learned how to identify the tone of the passage. Yes, but if your scores are not very good, I would suggest identify your weak spot, spend some time there. Also identify your strengths. Okay, these are the questions I can do well. So practice that also. Okay, answer is there. My bad. Acha, theek hai. I'll ask you one more question. Theek hai. I'll ask you now that we've understood the tone. Let us try one intent question. Theek hai. So tell me, what was the intention behind writing this passage? Okay, what was the intention? I give you two options. Option A, option B, and option C. Okay. Option A says to describe or expose the irrelevance of this public courtesy enforcement task, hai na? To show the irrelevance. B, the intention was to criticize and explain the inefficiencies of this public courtesy enforcement, and C is to let's say hopefully criticize the public courtesy enforcement. Okay, you have three options, people. This bill is there. What was the intention of the author behind writing this? To show the irrelevance, A. B is to criticize and show the inefficiencies. C was to what was it? C, let's say, is to celebrate it, है ना? To celebrate the will. Tell me quickly in the comments what is the answer, A, B, or C? Sam says it's A. A is to show the irrelevance, B is to show the inefficiency or to criticize it. Sam says A. Let's say, are you even listening to me? I'm not asking about this question. I'm asking about this intent question. Abhilasha says B, that is to criticize. Yes, okay. Sam says B, Pratham says B, a lot of you are saying B. Okay, okay. You're all wrong, bache, you are wrong. No, the author is not writing this passage to show the inefficiency. No, 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 no. Read the last line, bache, read the last line. Throughout this, he has been criticizing that how it's a bad idea. Hai na? It was not required. It is not even solving any purpose. In last, the author says, meanwhile, sanitation workers continue to strike for basic protective gear, and traffic congestion regularly traps ambulances in jams that no amount of politeness can untangle. What is the author saying? The author is saying, in a country where traffic jam is so bad, where sanitary workers do not have basic gears, what is the relevance of bringing this bill that talks about public, let's say, civic sense? Right? The author is saying that the city has embraced a philosophy where public decorum, civic sense is treated as substitute for public service. This should not happen. So he's not criticizing it. He's not telling, oh, these are the inefficiency, inko theek kar lo, the bill is good. No. He is very categorically saying that the bill is irrelevant for a country like ours or for a city like theirs. Right? That was the intention behind writing this. Okay, that is the purpose we do these tone questions. Once you've understood the tone, the next step is I'd understand the intent behind writing the passage. Okay, your homework for today is do homework. Expand the list that I've given you with 5 synonyms, and then of course practice all the intent question from your CLAT 24-25 previous year question paper. What was the intention of the author? What was the objective behind writing it? What was the purpose? What are you asking, dear? But say warmly humorous is when you are humorous, but not in a condescending manner. You are humorous, you are making fun, but not in a condescending manner, in a very light-hearted manner. That is warm humorous. Okay. Yes, everybody. All right, all right. We'll end the session here for today. we will call it a day, and then I'll see you in the next lecture. All right, everybody, keep practicing. See you all. Bye bye.